All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS, and sincere Shalom to the brothers out here pushing this truth and sincerity. And I happen to be coming across some things, especially this. Just go into a small video into this, just to show you how sick these Egyptians are, especially since this is what a lot of our people tend to follow anyways. Well, any other religion. But this is some of the this is why we should be grateful we're not like these heathens. It's not far off that them Hamites and Soonanites do all these disgusting things that they do over there. So I found this basically some people that went into the history of this. They're talking about the actually I'm just going to read it. Going back into ancient Egypt, it says the Nile shaped the world view of ancient Egyptians. It was a river that blessed its people with a source of food, water, and transportation. Because Egypt was great at that time, right? It says Egyptians were dependent on it as a source of moisture and nutrients for crops, since rainfall was almost non-existent in the area. In good times, the Nile brought wealth and prosperity, but in drought, it brought famine and death. Right? It says, given this fact, ancient Egyptians did everything to prevent the river from drying up. One of their more fascinating, as they like to say, approaches was holding a periodic fertility festival by the Nile. Now, when I read this, you're going to wonder, how is this fascinating? But you got some people out there that's into some sick stuff like this, right? So this is the fertility festival. It says in the festival, crowds of people would gather around the river and wait for the pharaoh. When the pharaoh arrived by the shore, he would get stripped down and would begin whacking off. Yeah, you heard that right. The crowds of people are surrounding him just to watch him do this, right? It says the pharaoh would then ejaculate into the river, making sure that his semen flowed with the current. Let's keep reading, because I ain't gonna go too far into this. But it says after the pharaoh, other men would then come over and release their seeds as well. The entire process was believed to have brought more prosperity and blessings to the people. But what was their basis for mostly whacking off for good luck? Interestingly enough, it's the same reason why Christians believe whacking off is wrong. It's because of a God. Now, I won't get into the whole thing with that. But this is the sick stuff that these heathens would do. And it's even worse things than that. But when you see videos of these dirty animals putting their heads up actual animals' butts, it's not hard to believe something like this. So crowds of people would come around and would join in for stuff like this into their drinking supply. It's no wonder why a lot of that stuff had to be taken down, especially since when they got taken over, that place really had to get destroyed, because then, as we already know, the process with that. But this is some of the sickest things you could think and that you could hear about, or at least one of them, because there's even worse things than that. Like with the god Nut, when you go into that whole history. But you got them, I forgot the name of them. It's like you have them Egyptologists that likes being a whole the Egyptian, but when it comes to stuff like that, they won't ever bring stuff like that out. But they, so what is the whole what sick stuff are these Egyptologists into? if they are doing stuff like this, because this is what they follow. This is the stuff they like to go into. Well, they don't go into it, but this is what they want to claim their heritage to be, right? But they ain't carrying on even some of the acts of it, which goes to show you how phony people can be when with the stuff like this, right? I'm gonna come back to that. So this is Job 15:16. How much more man? Sorry. How much more abominable and filthy is man? Drinketh it, drinketh iniquity like water. Funny how we just talking about them throwing seeds into water, right? Their seeds. But this is primarily our people that follow unto that disgusting things. Why would you want to be something like that? But you would never see them Egyptologists throwing their heads up a cow's butt just so they can get smeared on. But them dirty Africans, they'll do it. Them Hamites and Sunnites, they into stuff like that. So it goes to show you that we are. It goes to show you that we are two different nations, right? We ain't like them Hamites or them Sunnites. We're nothing like them. That's why they're quick to tell us that we're not the same, or they hate us because we're not meant to be the same. Just because we had that skin color in other people's eyes doesn't mean the same. Doesn't mean we're the same. People fail to understand that a lot of nations back then were dark. Of course, especially when until Esau hit the scene, things started mixing up a bit. But during a lot of times before Esau hit the scene, all nations were dark, right? So let me go back to this real quick. When you go, and then we got the word myth right here, which is basically made up, basically. So this is what you get. The later interpretations of Atum turned into Amen Ra, which is the Egyptian god of creation, as they like to call it. But look at this. What does he have in front of him? It's his own rod. So this is how sick these people are. But you see, our people are even more sick for even following it. Even if they're not doing the same things as them, they're still just as sick because they subscribe onto stuff like this, right? So I'm gonna read right here. Oh, sorry. It says, "I had a union with my hand, and I embraced my shadow in a love embrace. I poured seed into my own mouth, and I sent forth from myself issue in the form of the gods." I don't even know what they was what that those how you pronounce those names, but I guarantee you they're more Egyptian gods. See, the difference between us and all these other nations out here is all these other nations out here have multiple gods, whereas we only have one. At least in this truth that we understand that we only have one. We have Yahweh Shah and we have Yahweh and Yahweh Shah, but they're basically we they're two, but it's in order. These other gods are just make believe, and if they're not made up, they was actual people. They wasn't some person with a crocodile head or any others, all this other stuff. Plain and simple. That's why you go into the whole mythology thing. It's basically made up. It's a whole slew of ideas mixed into one. You know, we can go ahead to that actually while I'm at it. While I'm already at it. Utterance, speech, discourse, tale, narrative, fiction, legend. And see, when it comes to all these myths, you can make up anything. A usually traditional story And traditional means man-made anyway. So that's a cut right there. Historical events that serves to unfold part of the worldview of a people. Notice how I said a worldview, right? Or explain a practice, belief, or natural phenomenon. See, we're not doing any of the man-made stuff. We're keeping our heritage. That's what separate. That also separates us from a lot of these people. We're not doing a tradition. We're doing the heritage, right? So again, that sets us apart already. So this is 1 Corinthians 12:2. It says, "Ye know that you were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led." And plenty enough, even to this day, our people are still being carried away unto these dumb idols. We've been carried away unto these dumb idols even back in Egypt and so on and so forth. Even beforehand, you got Baal, you got a hell of a lot of other gods that our people will subscribe to. And that's why we here today, getting jammed up because we're not coming back to Lord YAHAWAHSHI'S, right? So we got one order, whereas these other nations have multiple other gods you can find to serve, and that's the difference. That's why we stay away. This is why the Lord keeps us in this mindset to not be caught up into the world, because following these other gods means you're following into the world, right? What is Amun Ra going to do? How is he going to save you? How is uh uh Buddhist going to save you? Right? You got all these other gods, but they're not there to be saved. I mean, to save you, they just myths. Or I'm sorry, they just tales to be told, and that's it. They have no actual way of making an answer or to change all these things that goes on. Right? That's not to say that the gods didn't have powers, but it wasn't the power like to Yahweh and Yahweh Shah, right? Because there's been plenty of counts on that, right? So that's pretty much all I wanted to go into that. This was just supposed to be something quick. I added a little bit more to it, but little one, this is a little bit edifying with that. Shalom.